I've been watching the footage of the AFCON final for 3 days straight, and I honestly still can't decide if what I'm seeing is a football match, a hostage negotiation, or, I don't know, some kind of political theater.
It's all three. Definitely all three. And you could probably throw in a legal thriller for good measure.
Right. I mean, usually when we say a final was chaotic, we're talking about a few too many yellow cards, maybe a pitch invader.
Yeah.
But the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations final, Morocco versus Senegal, this was something else entirely. We're talking about a mass walk-off, a 14-minute standoff where the broadcast just died, and now a lawsuit about, of all things, broken concentration.
And that's all before you even get to the man dressed as Patrice Lumumba standing stock still in the stands while all this chaos is unfolding around him.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, we're going past the scoreline. Everyone knows Senegal won. But honestly, the 1-0 result is the least interesting part of this entire story. I want to unpack what really happened in those 14 minutes and why the fallout, these fines, these bans are just so incredibly heavy.
It's a huge story. And I think to get why it exploded, you have to understand the context. The pressure cooker that was Rabat. You've got Morocco, the hosts. They've poured billions, literally billions, into their football infrastructure. They made it to the World Cup semis a few years back. The expectation wasn't just that they could win. It was that they had to win.
On their own soil, with the king watching. I mean, the pressure must have been just suffocating.
Exactly. And on the other side, you've got Senegal. They're the defending champions. They aren't the feel-good underdog anymore. They're the kings of the continent, and they have no intention of giving up that crown.
So you have these two massive forces just colliding.
And the match reflected that. It was so tense, scoreless, 0-0, grinding its way into stoppage time.
And a 0-0 game can be boring, but this felt like that edge of your seat, 0-0, where you just know one tiny mistake is going to decide everything.
Precisely. And Senegal actually felt they were the better team. They were controlling the pace. And then we hit the 92nd minute, and the world just turns completely upside down.
This sequence of events is just wild to watch back. Senegal attacks. Ismaïla Sarr bundles the ball into the net. The whole bench clears. They think they've just won the tournament.
Pure, absolute ecstasy. The final whistle hasn't even gone, but in their minds, it's over. But the referee, Jacques Ndala, he waves it off almost instantly. No goal.
And before they can even scream at him, before they can even register the fact that the goal is gone, the ball is already at the other end of the field.
It's a lightning-fast counterattack. Morocco breaks. The ball comes into the box. There's a tangle of legs, and Senegal's defender, Diouf, catches Brahim Diaz.
Whistle blows again. Penalty to Morocco.
Just try to imagine the psychology of that swing. In what, 60 seconds? You go from thinking we are the champions of Africa to we're about to lose the final in the last second of the game. It's enough to completely break your brain.
And it seems like it broke Coach Pic Theo's brain, because this is where everything just goes off the rails. You know, you see coaches scream at refs. That's normal.
Oh yeah, that's standard.
But Theo does something. I've just never seen it. Not in a final of this magnitude.
He storms onto the pitch. But he's not just looking for an explanation. The press called it sensational scenes, which I think is a massive understatement. He's waving his arms. He's pointing to the tunnel. He's ordering his team off the field.
And he's not bluffing. That's the crazy thing. You see the players, they're looking at him. They're looking at each other, totally confused. But then they start to walk.
They did it. They abandoned the pitch.
So take us into that moment. I was watching the live broadcast, and the commentators had no idea what was happening. They were just filling air. Well, it appears the players are leaving the field.
It was a complete breakdown of protocol. I mean, technically, under the laws of the game, if a team refuses to play, the referee can just abandon the match and award the win to the other team.
So Senegal was seconds away from just forfeiting the entire tournament.
They were playing a game of chicken with the Confederation of African Football, and they were losing.
And the Moroccan players are just, what, standing there on the field? Alone?
Alone with the referees. And the ball just sitting there on the penalty spot for 14 minutes.
14 minutes is an eternity on live television. What is going on in the tunnel during this time? Are they just packing their bags?
It's absolute chaos.
No.
Thea is furious. He's convinced there's a bias against them. But this is where the story pivots from just a coach's meltdown to really a study in leadership.
Yeah.
Because not everyone went down the tunnel.
Sadio Mane.
Captain. He stays on the pitch.
And you see him in the footage doing something really unusual. He isn't arguing with the ref. He's walking over towards the stands.
Yeah, he goes to talk to El Hadji Diouf.
The legend himself, the bad boy of that incredible 2002 Senegalese team.
The very same. Diouf is there in the stands, and Mané goes over, seemingly to get his advice. It's this completely surreal moment. The current captain is seeking counsel from this icon of the past, all while his own coach is basically on strike.
It's almost like Mané realized the coach had lost control, that he had to be the adult in the room.
He understood the stakes. If they walk off, they don't just lose the match. They become the team that quit. It would damage the image of African football on a global scale. And so eventually, he runs to the tunnel. We don't know exactly what he said, but he convinces his team to come back out.
So they trickle back onto the field. The coach, Theo, he looks like he's just swallowed a wasp, but he's there. And now we have to talk about Brahim Diaz.
Yes, the man with the weight of a nation on his shoulders.
He's been standing over that ball for almost a quarter of an hour. Getting cold. Just thinking about this one kick, this is a Real Madrid superstar. The goalkeeper, Edouard Mendy, has just come back from a walkout. The mind games are they're off the charts.
And Diaz cracks. Or maybe, depending on your perspective, he just gets way too confident.
He tries a Panenka in a stoppage time penalty to win the AFCON final.
It's just bordering on arrogance, isn't it?
It's insane. For anyone who doesn't watch football, a Panenka is when you just gently chip the ball right down the middle, assuming the keeper is going to dive to one side. It makes you look like a genius if it works.
And an absolute fool if it doesn't. And you're trying this against Edouard Mendy, a Champions League winning goalkeeper. He's enormous. He's experienced. And he just stood there.
He didn't even have to dive. He just caught it.
He caught it like you'd toss him a set of car keys. It was just humiliating for Diaz. And the whole stadium.
Yeah.
You could feel the air just get sucked out of the building. The sources we looked at said fans were calling it karma.
Right. That Morocco got this supposed gift of a penalty and then squandered it with pure hubris.
And that save changed the entire emotional landscape of the game. Senegal comes back out for extra time, and they're not the angry team that walked off anymore.
No, now they're the team of destiny.
They feel vindicated. Just 4 minutes into extra time, Pape Guy smashes a goal in. 1-0. And Morocco, the hosts, the favorites, they just totally collapse mentally after that. Senegal lifts the trophy.
But the story doesn't end there, does it? Usually the winners get confetti and champagne. Senegal got that, but they also got a massive bill.
This fallout phase is almost as dramatic as the final itself. Because CAF, governing body, they clearly decided they had to drop the hammer on everyone involved.
Let's go through the receipt, because it is a long one.
Well, first up, Coach Theo, the man who orchestrated the walk-off. A 5-match ban and a fine of $100,000.
5 matches is huge for an international coach. That's basically a whole qualification campaign.
It is. It takes him out of the picture for a very long time. Then you've got players, Ismail Assar and Iliman Ndiaye, 2-match bans for shouting at the referee. And then the Senegalese Federation itself was fined a total of $615,000.
Over $500,000. For what?
Well, $300,000 for the team's misconduct, and another $300,000 because their supporters were fighting with security in the stands. It's a staggering amount.
But here's the part that I found, I don't know, darkly hilarious. Morocco got fined too, and they got fined for the ball boys.
Oh, yes. The inappropriate actions of stadium ball boys.
You have to explain this. How do a bunch of teenagers get their federation a $200,000 fine?
It's one of the dark arts of football. When the home team wants to waste time or disrupt the opponent's rhythm, the ball boys are instructed, usually by the coaching staff, to just hide the balls.
To hold the ball hostage.
Exactly. Or to throw a second ball on the pitch to stop play. Or when a Senegal player asks for a ball, they just move with agonizing slowness. It's systematic time wasting, and CAF had clearly had enough. $200,000. It might be the most expensive ball boy shift in sports history.
That is just incredible. It's so petty, but it tells you just how desperate Morocco is getting. And their staff even tried to invade the VAR room.
They did. They tried to storm the video assistant referee's room, presumably to intimidate the officials. That was another $100,000 fine. So when you add it all up, nobody comes out of this looking good.
And now Morocco is actually suing. Their legal argument is that the walk-off, it distracted them.
That is their formal argument to FIFA, yes. That the 14-minute delay caused by Senegal broke their players' concentration, and that's what directly led to Diaz missing the penalty.
Hold on. You can't sue because you had to wait. Every sport has delays. Rain delays, timeouts, injuries. You can't claim you lost because you got cold.
It sounds totally desperate, doesn't it? But their argument is that it was a deliberate disruption. They're trying to frame the walk-off not as the emotional protest, but as a tactical weapon to ice the penalty taker.
That feels like complete revisionist history. Are you telling me that coach, in a moment of pure rage, was secretly playing 4D chess? Aha, if I make my team leave for exactly 14 minutes, Brahim Diaz will get overconfident and attempt a Panenka?
I think it's highly unlikely. Yeah. But in a legal fight, you just need an argument.
It shows you the bitterness, though. The Moroccan journalist actually walked out of the press conference when Thea showed up. So he had a walk-off on the field and a walk-out in the press room.
It's contagious. I want to circle back to Mané for a minute, because in the middle of all this pettiness, the lawsuits, the ball boys, he stands out. Why does he have that kind of moral authority where the team listens to him over their own coach?
It's because his connection to Senegal, to his home, is so real and tangible. Right, we hear about athletes doing charity, but what he does is on a totally different level.
It's systemic. In his home village of Bambali, he didn't just show up for a photo op. He built a hospital with a maternity ward. He built a school and paid to bring in 4G internet so the kids could connect to the outside world. He built a petrol station.
And he gives a stipend to every family.
Yeah, 70 euros a month to every family in the village. It's life-changing stability. He's famous for that quote where he said, "Why would I want 10 Ferraris, 20 diamond watches? What will these objects do for me and for the world?"
It's such a powerful contrast to the usual image of a modern superstar footballer.
He really is.
Yeah.
So when that guy, the one who builds hospitals instead of buying jets, tells you, "We are not leaving, we are going to play, and we're going to win this," you listen. He represents a kind of dignity that isn't about throwing a tantrum. It's about endurance.
Speaking of dignity and symbols, we absolutely have to talk about the man in the suit, the living statue. This was my favorite detail from the sources. Who is Michel Kuka Mboladinga?
He is the breakout, unexpected icon of this entire tournament. He's a 53-year-old man from the DRC. And while everyone else is screaming and lighting flares and hiding balls, he just stood in the stands wearing a suit with his arm raised, perfectly mimicking the statue of Patrice Lumumba.
For the entire game.
90 minutes, sometimes 120 minutes, just motionless.
For listeners who might not know, just remind us why Lumumba is such a powerful, heavy symbol to bring into a football stadium.
Patrice Lumumba was the first prime minister of an independent DRC. He is, for many, the ultimate symbol of African independence and anti-imperialism. He was assassinated in 1961 with help from Western intelligence agencies, basically because he wanted Congo to control its own natural resources.
So he represents a refusal to bow down to outside powers.
Exactly. And Boladinga standing there, channeling that spirit, it just resonated, went viral. Other players started doing the pose when they scored goals. It became this kind of unspoken symbol of Pan-African solidarity throughout the tournament.
It really connects to what you were saying earlier about that renewed self-confidence.
It's one of our sources called the Global African Perspective. This tournament showcased a generation that is just done with being polite. Whether it's Senegal refusing to accept what they see as an injustice or a fan channeling Lumumba, there is this assertiveness.
It's just fascinating how football becomes the stage for all of this. You tune in for a game and you end up getting a crash course in colonial history, legal ethics, and leadership.
That's why the AFCON is just unlike any other tournament. It's still raw. It hasn't been completely sanitized by the corporate machine.
So when you look back at everything that happened in Rabat, was the walk-off a moment of shame, or was it actually the move that won them the cup?
That really is the central question, isn't it? FIFA President Gianni Infantino called it unacceptable. Of course he did. He wants a clean, predictable TV product.
Right.
But if Senegal hadn't walked off, if they hadn't completely broken the rhythm of the game and injected all that chaos, does Diaz feel that pressure? Does he attempt that arrogant penalty? Maybe not. Maybe that disruption was exactly what they needed.
It gave him 14 minutes to get inside his own head.
Exactly. Sometimes an unacceptable act is the only thing that can break a deadlock.
Well, there you have it. A final that had absolutely everything, including a $200,000 bill for some mischievous ball boys. I'm never going to look at a ball boy the same way again.
You shouldn't. Watch them closely. They might be the most dangerous people on the entire pitch.
Thanks for this deep dive. We'll